Well, go live. Says the invalid. Whatever. Just gonna keep going, anyways. What's up, guys? How you doing? We're in the next round of the next match of the Wicked Crazy Pinfalls tournament, and we got the one and only Dennis Farrell. What's up, bud? How you doing?
Hey, I'm glad to be here. It's a privilege to be in this next round. How many more people do I have before I claim my belt? Was it one or two more? I mean, I'm right there. I'm on. You guys might as well just give it to me.
If I gave it to you, that means I have to travel, which I wouldn't really mind that much.
I'll pay for shipping.
Don't pay for shipping. That's not right. Well, since Crown Jewel happened today, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, so we'll figure it out along the way. But even we're having technical difficulties on Twitch right now, so it's gonna stay as is, I guess. So we might as well just keep going. So what are your expectations? I don't watch Impact as much as a lot of people. I know Rob does. I know you do. So this was like a perfect fit for a match for you two. But what are your expectations of this card? Because, you know, like I try to catch watching Impact and stuff, but it's kind of hard to do so at times.
Essentially, this is Impact's WrestleMania. This is their big pay-per-view, their big show. So I'm going to expect probably the best show of the year for them. Slammiversary, in my opinion, normally is the show to beat, but I really think they're going to pull out all the stops. You may see some surprises this Bound for Glory, so I'm excited for it.
I mean, from what I get is that it's going to be probably one of their biggest cards in a while. So I mean, it's going to have a lot of good people on these matches and stuff. So I mean, the expectation's pretty high on this. I mean, you've got Hall of Famers on this and everything. So I mean, to me, it's like one of those things. Like I can't wait to hear about it after the fact of it. So we'll go through this card and stuff.
Do we yet know who Rob picked? Because
I have all of them. So yes, we do. I do know Rob Wilkins is actually on his way to Chicago right now. Because I asked him if he could come on, and he's on his way there.
Trying to duck me, Rob. You're looking for every reason never to have to go head to head with me, and I don't blame you. I mean, because I am me, and you're Rob. I would try to hide from me as much as possible if I were you.
Well, in a sense, you know, life, everybody has a crazy life and they have to do stuff. So, I mean, that's the way it is, right?
I have to go to Chicago. Oh, man.
Hey, I wish I could go to Chicago, and that's kind of like a difficult thing for me right now. Going to any wrestling or concert is kind of difficult for me right now. So, but I digress. So, even though this is going to be their WrestleMania, the card is actually really good. The Call Your Shot Gauntlet match seems like it's interesting to me, just watching it as a distance. But for me, the match I'm more interested in, and we'll talk about it in a second, is Deonna Purrazzo and Mickie James, just because of the factor is you have somebody like Mickie James of the caliber of her being on a higher end aspect of it, and probably almost as much as I hate to say this, maybe getting closer to the twilight of her career, where it's like, you know, she's looking at everything in a different light to help other people, which is great.
I believe that's a very fair assessment of where Mickie James is in her career. She's done it all. She's been to the highest places. She's back home in Impact for a little bit, as well as everything else she's been doing. I really like Mickie James to win this match. I said from day one, I think the smart move would to put it on her, give the company another little high profile. Not that Purrazzo is not a high profile athlete right now, but I really think when you look at the two careers side by side, Deonna's nowhere close to where Mickie is. She's carving out a very, very nice career for herself, and maybe one day she can come close to it. But to put the belt on Mickie James would be a feel-good story here. So I'm thinking I'm going with Mickie James on this one.
Wow, you right off the bat disagree with Rob. Rob went with Deonna, and I would be in Rob's camp with that. I think you keep it with Deonna and create a feud with a legend like Mickie for a little bit, and just push it into the new year a little bit, because I mean, you got November and December, and then you have a fresh year to start off, and then maybe have Deanna chase after it, or better yet, since their Forbidden Doors open, might as well have her go after Britt for a while and maybe see how they can do something like that as an angle.
Well, but we're guessing here, and I really think that for a reset to go into the new year, because you have to remember Impact tapes a month in advance. We're getting into November and December, and I really think you're going to start just hey, listen, we need a couple big names, because what would be a more awesome match if this Forbidden Door is open than to have Mickie James versus Britt Baker for title versus title. And I can see it going there for one of the big AEW pay-per-views. And I think right there, that carries more weight than Deanna versus Britt.
Well, you got that correct. I mean, it could be just simple as a different way of looking at it. I mean, you got two really great talents, and it's like you have Deanna on the upcome, which WWE botched it. We could already say this right. And then you have Mickie, who's a legend in wrestling overall. I mean, it seems like they're trying to get Deanna up to that level where it's like you got both of them at their top performance and top peaks, which is great. But yeah, you, Rob, off the bat disagree. He wants Peraza to win. So it's going to be a really interesting match with you guys, because a lot of the stuff might be same, might not be where it's like 100%, Drew got the King of All Worlds and got 100% on that. So from that point,
Drew, what did he get the second chance back into the tournament? So this guy's still hanging around. Oh my God.
Yeah, he had Crown Jewel today. So I have to get that stuff because Tad is away right now on vacation. So I'm covering in for him for a little bit. So go straight up to the jugular. Why don't we go with Cage and Alexander for the Impact World title? You've got a legend in Christian Cage, other known for WWE fan as Christian, in literally like a renaissance of his career and like edges. And you have Josh Alexander, who literally is lighting up the world. And these is going to probably be one of the matches of the night where it just steals the show. So who do you have?
You know what? I'm going Josh Alexander via DQ here. I think Josh will get the win on paper. And this is for neither here nor there, because I have a feeling we both are picking Josh Alexander here to win this. So I don't know if there's much spoiler alert, unless Rob surprises me here. But I think Josh is the natural to win. But I'm going to say Christian still walks out with that title, but Josh wins via DQ.
Yeah, that could be like a little throw in the wrench kind of idea, like a monkey wrench in there. But you both are correct. You both said Alexander to win. It's this card for me is just an interesting thing because now, and to be blunt, and I've said this on the Wicked Crazy Pinfalls, is that I've kind of distanced myself from WWE for the most part. But let's keep going and stuff like that. You've got the Inspiration, which is the formerly known as the Iconics, which is funny because
I think we're both choosing the Iconics on this one. I'm going to save you a couple minutes on this one. There are a couple of these matches where I think there are going to be no-brainers. For me right here, this is one of those no-brainer matches. And if Rob picked anybody but the Inspirations or the Iconics, I would just say put me in the second round now.
Well, this is the second round. You're going to end up trying to get to the third. Yeah. Which would be really interesting the way it's going. No, you're correct. Both of you guys have the same picks. So you're going to basically see like Inspiration for the new tag titles, for the Knockouts titles, which is great. Steven Macklin versus Trey Miguel versus El Fantasmo in the triple threat for the X Division title. I've seen past X Division matches. I've seen how brutal they are. I've seen how awesome they are too. So this match sounds on paper from somebody that doesn't watch much of it is an interesting match, just on paper. But who do you see coming out on this?
This is the only match on the card that I'm not clear on. I have it down to two people. I'm even as I talk now, I'm not sure which way I'm going to go, and we're going to work this one out as I go. But it's down to Macklin or Trey. Uh, I think they're going to put it on Macklin for now. That's kind of where I'm leaning. They've worked really hard to build Macklin up. I like that they're making Trey Miguel work for a title here. They're not just giving it to him. And we all want Trey Miguel to hold a title. But when he finally gets it, it will be a feel-good, amazing moment. But I don't think it's happening here.
Again, you guys disagree on this one. So he believes Miguel gets the title here in this instance, which this is like a prediction match where it's great because it's not like clear cut. A lot of people don't know which way it could go, and that's the best way of doing it. The Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. Now, I don't know much about that stuff, but
it's
if
fairly
you
new concept. So I think the winner of the Gauntlet, which is a couple different things thrown together, will end up being able to essentially have their money in the bank briefcase where they can cash in at any moment, which could be on this card.
Yeah, it's interesting to see different brands doing certain things to certain productions and everything. So where do you see this match coming out of? Like which direction?
This is a good question. As I'm looking back here on my notes, I will say this. I like the match. I like the concept. I like how they're setting this thing up. I'm going with Jordan Grace here to win it all. I think out of all the names, and I think this is for the digital impact, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it's I think Jordan Grace is going to walk out. I mean, I look at the names and Dashwood, I don't think is going to win it. I don't think Chelsea Green is going to win it. And the other two are just three are just throwaways and I'm sure he picked Jordan Grace too.
You're wrong on that one. He picked Chelsea Green.
Wow, I'm going to the third round.
Well, Rob is open-minded about a lot of stuff, so I'll give him that. And he's a good person too, and just settle that for a little bit.
Well, by the way, I know it, and he's a great guy, but I'm going to trash talk because I have to in the third round to get to the third round. So,
yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yes.
So, other than that, you got supposedly Heath and Rhino versus Violet by Design. Who do you guys have coming out of that?
You know what? I don't know who Heath's partner is going to be, and I like this. I'm going to lean towards Heath getting a win here. I think Violent by Design can take a loss here and not hurt them. Heath coming back after being gone for so long. I want to say almost a year. Maybe not quite. So I think you have to give Heath the win here.
I think something like that, where if they're going to build Heath up to be this amazing person, amazing talent, you do give Heath, and Rob thinks Rhino is going to be his actual partner in all this. But it would be an awesome match because you've got some connections there with past experience and past matches and stuff like that, from what I can see. I know I'm not the most educated Impact guy to talk to, but I mean, I try.
I think the obvious would say it's Rhino, but boy, I'm wondering if we could see one of his old Nexus partners showing up for this to fill in. Ryback's still out there. I'm trying to think of who else would be. Who's the guy with New Japan?
The former Eric Young, not the Eric Young, Daryl Younger.
Yes, exactly. That's who I was thinking of. So I'm going to lean towards a Nexus partner, but points don't matter on this one. So, but I'm going with Heath for the win.
Another name you could throw out there possibly is what is it? It might be a long shot for this, but he was in NXT for a while. The former Bronson Reed. That could be an interesting spot there. You could also have few other really big names on that have been talked about. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if they take this shot out. I don't know if his compete clause is off, but if they bring Bray right here in this spot just to shock people, because Bray is a former Nexus member.
I could see that, but I don't think it would fit the character. You pigeonhole him now into a B or a C storyline where if you're going to throw him on this card as a surprise, it's got to be more impactful than a second or third match on the card. And for this, I think this would be a Braun Strowman thing where you want to shock people. Braun Strowman comes in, takes out all of Violent by Design, and thus making him look like a beast. And I think Braun could shoulder the weight of a hokey storyline here.
Yeah, would you see EC3 popping in here at some point?
I don't think it'd be in this storyline. There's, I think EC3 right now and his character demands more of a serious line. And I don't know, for whatever reason, when I think of Heath, I just think of comedy. And I just think whoever you bring in here has to be able to rise above the Heath comedy here. I think Strowman can do it and look like a beast. I think Bray Wyatt or Wyndham, his character is a little more darker and sinister, and I don't think it could overcome this.
It's going to be an interesting thing how all this pans out. I know this is like going to be a short prediction show, but we have the main show coming up too, and you're more welcome to stay on there, Bud, if you want.
I might hang around for a few minutes.
Yeah. And the last match on the card that I have that could change between now and then, even though it's Thursday and tomorrow, and then there it is that, the Good Brothers versus Fine Juice and also the Bullet Club for the Impact World titles, tag titles. This is going to be interesting with that whole ideal Forbidden Door situation that they're doing with Gallows and Anderson too, where they could just literally bring people in and from the Super Click and just let it go. Who do you see coming out? Do you see Gallows and Anderson holding it, or?
I'm very curious on who Rob picked here, but I'm going to say the Bullet Club walks out. I think you bring the Bullet Club into Impact for a reason, to bolster them up. I think this opens the door for a nice American Bullet Club run and a lot of inter-promotion stuff. And what better way to do it than what they did with Finjuice? When Finjuice came in from New Japan, it was shocking. They gave them the Impact belts like that. I think it actually elevated that tag team from a good tag team to a great tag team. And I think if you put Impact belts on the Bullet Club now, it might revive that whole Bullet Club mystique that has kind of disappeared since this new Bullet Club regime came into power. So give me Bullet Club here.
Yeah, and one of the picks Rob threw out, because we talked about your call, your shot, his pick was Adam Shear, but you're right. You guys are basically on point with this. Is like it's going to be Gallows and Anderson. So you guys differential between two different things, but majority of it was agreed on. So are you?
He picked Gallows and Anderson to win this, or the Bullet Club? See, I'm going Bullet Club and not Gallows and Anderson.
Well, he picked Gallows and Anderson to pick it. So that's why it's the best thing about these things, where you just have fun with it. And recently, a lot of people are too serious in life. So what are you, since we got a little time before we have to pop over to the main show and stuff, what are your expectations for the rest of this tournament? Because you're in the second round now. We're getting closer and closer to the main event. And yes, Mania is 2 nights this year, so we're doing something special. This semifinal matches are actually going to be on night 1, and the final is going to be on night 2. Where do you see the tournament going? Who do you think is going to be your roughest opponents to get to the title?
I don't know who the roughest opponent is. I think as we go, it's going to be more of luck and happenstance, because it just becomes more, harder to guess and predict things. I'd like to sit here and tell you I'm the smartest guy in the tournament. I'm just going to blow everybody out of the way. But truly, I just want to knock Drew out one more time to say that twice in one tournament, I was the guy to take Drew out and more solidify I am better than him.
Well, he might be watching and stuff like that.
I know he's watching. I know
that
every time I whisper his name, he comes around. Every time I think about him, He somehow pops up somewhere. He's just one of those guys that's barely hanging on, just barely hanging on. And I want to be the guy that comes up and says, "Oh, look, knock him right out of the tournament twice." I don't want anybody else to do it. So please, whoever plays, Drew, lose so I can be the one to knock him out twice. And then he can look up to this guys and be like, "What happened? I thought I had this." And then along comes me.
Well, you can make it happen, Captain, because eventually that will probably end up happening. Maggie is and the King of All Worlds, or his match is going to be interesting too. That will be coming up soon. And then hopefully War Games happens because I want to see Anakin and Ron go. But other than that, we're going to switch over to the main show. Go check it out. Stay here if you want, but go to Throwback 978 on Twitch, and then YouTube Throwback 27. We're gonna head over to the main show, but might as well end on the Wicked Crazy Pinfalls crew show. So tell them where they can find you on there.
Hey, listen, it's the Wrestling Perspective. Go find it ASAP. It's a great podcast. This week coming up, we have Angelina Love, and I think sometime in November, this is exclusive, Tony Khan.
Really? Holy. Right. And then hopefully one of these days, because I'll be on vacation soon, in the next week, I can pop on and hang out with you guys for a little bit too. Yeah. That would be an honor. Other than that, we're going to head over to the main show. See you guys soon. Peace.